Hi, I'm Steve Ray, Senior Vice President and Principal for eConsult Solutions, and it's a privilege to share with you our findings from Return on Environment, the economic impact of protected open space in Montgomery County. eConsult Solutions is an economic consulting firm based in Philadelphia, and it was our pleasure to work with the team at the Montgomery County Planning Commission and a dedicated and passionate group of community advisors on this project. The economic analysis for this report was based on the methodologies from a previous return on environment study completed in 2011 by the Green Space Alliance and the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission. That report assessed the economic benefits of protected open space in the 5-county region of southeastern Pennsylvania, and this return on environment study seeks to quantify the economic value of protected open space specifically for Montgomery County. This type of economic analysis is critical to understanding and communicating the true value of the policies and initiatives that support open space preservation. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to share an overview of the findings of our analysis. For more than 100 years, public and private leaders have been responsible for planning, preserving, and protecting over 46,000 acres of open space across Montgomery County. How this wealth of protected land come about? It wasn't by accident. Early municipal parks in the county were the results of land donations or purchases through community fundraising efforts. As the county developed in the 60s, local governments began establishing municipal parks to meet local recreational needs. The county also worked to expand its park system and provide grants to municipalities to expand open space and recreational opportunities across the county. At the same time, new state legislation both expanded the state park system and enabled Montgomery County to purchase open space along important waterways like the Schuylkill River and the Pennypack, Wissahickon, and Perkiomen creeks. However, by the 1990s, it was clear that more needed to be done. Following the recommendations of a blue ribbon panel, the county enacted a $100 million open space program that funded new county land and trail acquisition, municipal grants for open space plans and land acquisition, and grants to private conservation organizations. And after the success of that first open space program, a second $150 million program, Greenfields, Green Towns, was recommended and endorsed by the voters of the county in a 2003 referendum. We begin our analysis with a key foundation, the permanently protected open space in Montgomery County. This land consists of federal, state, county, and municipal open spaces, land owned and protected by land trusts or through private conservation easement, or permanently protected agricultural easements. Why does this matter? Protected open space in the county helps to ensure a diversity of land types and land cover, as shown in this map. As we will discuss later, natural land cover provides both environmental and economic benefits to the county, helping to clean the air and water, reduce stormwater runoff and flooding, and provide cover and habitats for animals and plants. We all know that parks and protected open spaces provide innumerable intangible benefits of beauty, recreation, tranquility, and play to members of our community. But how does that 46,000 acres of open space make a difference to our economy? Protected open spaces, including public parks and trails, preserved farmland, and private conserved lands, provide proven and substantial economic, environmental, and public health benefits to surrounding communities. This value occurs in different ways. Some are direct revenue streams to individuals or governments. Some represent appreciation in asset values. Others are the result of avoided costs. This analysis estimates the economic benefits associated with protected open space in Montgomery County by measuring impact in 4 key areas. Home and property values are measured by the effect protected open space has on residential property values. Economic activity is measured by the jobs and revenue created as a result of maintaining open space and the activity on and connected to open space. Environmental services are measured by the environmental benefits provided by Montgomery County's protected open space. And direct use benefits reflect the recreation value and associated health benefits that accrue to users of publicly protected open spaces. Homes in Montgomery County capture a measurable increase in value as a result of proximate protected open space. The analysis presented in this section quantifies the impact of protected open space on home values in Montgomery County relative to the proximity and size of the protected open space and the environment in which the home and protected open space are located. Hedonic regression analysis was used to isolate the differences in home sale price attributable to protected open space, holding all other housing features constant. The analysis used nearly 143,000 transactions of single-family homes in Montgomery County from 2000 to 2020. Control variables were included to account for differences in housing characteristics as well as neighborhood characteristics. Specifically, for this analysis, the three primary variables that determine whether protected open space adds value to a home are: first, the house's proximity to protected open space; second, the size of the nearest protected open space; and third, whether the total area of all protected open space up to a half mile is greater than 150 acres. When a home is closer to protected open space, part of its value can be directly attributed to this proximity. Homes within a half mile to protected open space realize a 2.95% increase in total home value, equating to about $2.8 billion in total added home value throughout the county. And the closer a home is to the open space, the higher the impact. This value share increases to 3.75% when a home is located within a quarter mile of protected open space. For homes located between 1/4 to a half mile from protected open space, home values increase by 0.13%. We see some differences in the impact of open space depending on the type of community. The analysis reveals that a home's value is more impacted by proximity to protected open space in growing suburbs than in developed communities or rural areas. A single-family home in growing suburban municipalities in Montgomery County has a 4.4% premium in value if it is within a quarter mile from open space, which equates to an average of almost $17,000 per house. Many people choose to live in these types of municipalities because of the access to abundant open space and natural areas. This has become even more evident since the COVID-19 pandemic started and stay-at-home orders and social distancing made open space an even more desirable amenity for homeowners. As one would expect, the impact on property value dissipates the further a house is from non-agricultural open space. But our analysis also shows that the amount that nearby protected open space will add to a home's value is largely dependent upon the aggregate amount of nearby open space. The bar graph on the right shows that if the total acreage of open space within a half mile from a property is greater than 150 acres, the aggregate property value premium from all nearby open space is nearly an additional 1% of value. As we walk you through this analysis, we're also going to share stories from case studies identified by the Project Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission staff. Our first case is the Green Ribbon Preserve and Trail, which follows the Wissahickon Creek in Montgomery County through 6 townships and 2 boroughs. Preserve totals 578 acres of protected land and has a 12.6-mile public trail. The Green Ribbon Preserve and Trail is a great example of how a park and trail can span multiple municipalities and owners. It's comprised of land owned by Wissahickon Trails, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Montgomery County, Lower Gwinnett, Upper Gwinnett, Whitpain Townships, and private trail easements. Green Ribbon Preserve has a significant positive impact on property values. There are 2,646 houses located within 1/2 mile of the preserve, and it is estimated that 13.5% of the property value of homes within a half mile of the trail is attributable to the proximity of the trail and preserved open space. In other words, if the Green Ribbon Preserve and Trail were removed, the total assessed value of these homes would decrease by $87 million, or $33,000 per house. Economic activity is measured by the jobs and revenue created as a result of maintaining open space and the activity on and connected to open space. This section presents estimates of the annual economic and fiscal impacts within 3 categories, including total sales by agricultural commodity type in Montgomery County, management and maintenance expenditures of public parks, and spending associated with protected open space tourism. We express the economic impact in terms of spending, jobs, earnings, and tax revenues. The impact of direct expenditures associated with protected open space does not end with direct spending, but is recirculated and multiplied through the county's economy in 2 ways. First, the portion of that direct spending which goes to the purchase of goods and services gets circulated back into the economy when those goods and services are purchased from local vendors. This is the indirect effect and reflects the fact that local purchases of goods and services support local vendors, who in turn require additional purchasing with their own set of vendors. Second, the portion of that direct spending which goes to employees' salaries gets circulated back into the economy when those employees spend some of their earnings on various goods and services in the local community. This is the induced effect and reflects the fact that some of these goods and services will be purchased from local vendors like restaurants and grocery stores, further stimulating the local economy. Total economic impact is the sum of the direct investment plus the indirect and induced effects generated by direct expenditures associated with protected open space. This slide shows the total economic impact from spending related to protected farmland, spending on maintenance and upkeep of protected open space, and spending by tourists who come to the county to visit and use protected open spaces. Based on the spending on protected farmland in the county and the associated indirect and induced impacts, we estimate an annual economic impact of $8 million, supporting a total of 195 jobs in the county. Taking care of the protected open space also has an impact. Based on municipal, county, state, and federal parks maintenance budget estimates, as well as maintenance and upkeep spending by land trusts, we calculated a total economic impact of $112 million, supporting 940 jobs in the county. Finally, when visitors come to visit county parks and open spaces, they spend money not only on recreation, but also in the local economy, at restaurants, hotels, and other establishments. Using a conservative estimate that 2% of tourist visits to Montgomery County were for open space visits, we calculated a total economic impact of $39 million, supporting over 400 jobs in the county economy. The Schuylkill River Trail stretches alongside the Schuylkill River between Philadelphia and Frackville, Pennsylvania. This case study focuses on an approximately 3-mile-long portion in Pottstown Borough. The trail in this portion is managed by Schuylkill River Greenways and the Montgomery County Division of Parks, Trails, and Historic Sites. When completed, this trail will extend over 120 miles. Currently, 75 miles are complete and open. Over 1 million cyclists, runners, walkers, and strollers enjoy the SRT each year, and that number continues to rise as we all rediscovered the joy of outdoor recreation during the COVID-19 pandemic. While the heaviest use of the trail is in and around Philadelphia, the Schuylkill River Trail in Montgomery County is a point of pride and a popular destination for residents and visitors alike, with more than 70,000 users a year frequenting the Pottstown section of the trail alone. In the Pottstown area, the SRT has created an extended trail community with a dedicated following of regular users, as well as a steady inflow of visitors from near and far. Based on a variety of industry studies and user surveys, we estimated the distribution of trail users in order to estimate spending habits, broken into the following categories: soft goods, including refreshments and snacks, and hard goods, exercise clothing, accessories, and bikes. Then the typical spending of various types of trail users was estimated. A conservative approach was used, and only the retail margin of the visitor spending total was used to calculate the county's economic impact, because retail goods are generally sourced from outside the region. It's estimated that users along the Schuylkill River Trail in Pottstown spend $4.8 million on soft and hard goods, generating a total economic impact of $8.3 million in Montgomery County, supporting 90 jobs with $3 million in employee compensation. Protected open space in Montgomery County provides tangible environmental benefits for the communities it serves. This section draws upon established research to evaluate the economic benefits of several types of ecosystem services provided by the county's open space network, including air pollution removal, the provision of water supply, water quality improvement, flood mitigation, wildlife habitat conservation, and carbon sequestration and storage. Combined, these benefits create ecosystem functions that would require costly measures to replicate if lost. In this first set of environmental services analysis, we estimate ecosystem service benefits and air pollution benefits. When estimating ecosystem service benefits, we utilize satellite land cover data to estimate the amounts of various land cover types and then determine the total benefit by multiplying the amount of land cover types by the estimated dollar value per acre for each ecosystem service. When estimating air pollution benefits, it's all about the trees. Tree canopy amounts are estimated from satellite land cover data using the 2016 National Land Cover Data. We then calculate how much air pollution is removed by the trees using the 2020 iTree model from the U.S. Forest Service. Benefits are then calculated by multiplying the pollutant removal amounts by the externality value, or the cost of the pollutant to society. This represents the value that society would have to pay in areas such as healthcare if trees did not remove these pollutants due to increased cases of asthma and other respiratory conditions. ESI calculated the land cover variation for the protected open space in Montgomery County and applied the values associated with each of the ecosystem services to produce the total value of the environmental impact of protected open space. Dollar values approximating the economic value of each of these services are based on peer-reviewed estimates of value on a per acre basis. These total value estimates represent the costs avoided by not having to artificially replicate the ecosystem services currently provided by the protected open space. The ecosystem services include benefits such as air pollution removal, replenishing water supply, water quality, preservation of wildlife habitat, and carbon sequestration and storage. The ecosystem services provided by the approximately 46,000 acres of protected open space generate significant economic benefits, including the nearly 16,400 acres of tree cover in the county. In sum, the ecosystem services and environmental benefits are $31.6 million annually from a variety of sources and $97.4 million in the lifetime cost savings of carbon storage from tree coverage. Protected open space also helps mitigate stormwater impacts by reducing the volume of runoff created by storm events and the associated pollutants that stormwater carries. This reduces the burden placed on communities and their stormwater infrastructure to manage the volume of runoff and pollutant loads, thereby avoiding both capital and long-term maintenance expenditures, as well as improving ecological habitat, recreational resources, and sources of current and future public water supplies. How does this save communities money? An increase in runoff and pollutant loads would require additional investment in infrastructure to manage the increased stormwater. The results indicate that protected open space to protect against 2-year storm events avoids $74 million of capital costs for stormwater infrastructure construction, plus an additional annual investment of $10 million to operate and maintain this additional infrastructure, and an additional annual investment of $179 million that would be needed to remove pollutant loadings from creeks, streams, rivers, and other bodies of water. Our next case study is the Pennypack Ecological Trust. The Pennypack Trust is comprised of 852 acres within 3 municipalities in eastern Montgomery County, Upper and Lower Moreland Townships, and Brennath Borough. The Pennypack Trust is also home to the 2.5-mile-long county-maintained Pennypack Trail. The trust owns 725 acres and is the conservation easement holder of 133 acres of contiguous land. Were it not for the Pennypack Trust, most of its 850 plus protected acres would have already been developed as suburban neighborhoods, institutions, and commercial retail. The residential development that has occurred since the 1950s has irreversible consequences, and from a habitat perspective, the lands under the stewardship of this small land trust are deeply fragmented and lack sufficient space to foster truly robust and resilient native plant communities. Human intervention through restoration efforts is needed to overcome these obstacles. However, the power of this modest preserve to protect the water supply, habitat, and retain precious soils is remarkable and has a value of $1.2 million in annual ecosystem services benefits. In addition to the $1.2 million in annual ecosystem services benefits shown in the previous slide, the trust lands help keep 22.5 million gallons or 3 million cubic feet of stormwater runoff from entering the creek each year. Annual value of that natural infrastructure protection is over $1.1 million per year. This section estimates the economic value that residents capture from the use of protected open space, analyzing both the value users would be willing to pay to participate in recreational activities on that open space, as well as the economic value of avoided healthcare costs as a result of users' participation in strenuous and moderate exercise. The value of recreational protected open space in Montgomery County is estimated by using a willingness to pay method. This estimation seeks to quantify the amount an average consumer would be willing to pay a private provider like a health club or a spin class if there was no park or trail available. We use survey data from the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to estimate the average number of outdoor recreation visits by a typical household each year. We combine that with additional DCNR survey data to estimate how many of these visits occurred on protected open space. The resulting estimate is applied to the number of households in the county to determine the total number of times residents participate in outdoor activities on protected open space. We then apply those visits to the average amount people reported being willing to pay to participate in a typical open space visit, producing an estimate of the economic value of protected open space in Montgomery County. Based on all of those estimates, we estimate $219 million in benefits accrue annually to residents who participate in recreational activities on protected open space in the county. That $219 million represents the additional amount of money that residents would be willing to spend. Think of it as a voided cost for private recreation to participate in the recreational activities they currently enjoy for no personal costs on protected open space. Recent research has established the link between physical inactivity and demand for healthcare, and has demonstrated that there's a positive relationship between the number of recreational opportunities available to an individual and the frequency of their participation in physical activity. Using U.S. Census and survey data, we estimated the share of working-age people in the county who meet physical activity guidelines, which means engaging in moderate to strenuous exercise at least 2 times a week, and that they meet it at parks or on trails in the county. We then used research on healthcare and workplace savings due to physical activity to calculate the annual healthcare savings, which primarily accrue to businesses that you see in this infographic, which comes up to a total of $467 million in annual savings. Our fourth case study is the Norristown Farm Park. This large park is located in both the borough of Norristown and East Norristown Township. The park covers 690 acres and has over 8 miles of trails. It's managed by the Montgomery County Division of Parks, Trails, and Historic Sites and owned by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It blends recreational opportunities and agricultural activities. Popular visitor activities in the park include walking, jogging, hiking, dog walking, bicycling, rollerblading, picnicking, bird watching, fishing, photography, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and sledding. In total, the estimated annual recreational value generated from all those activities is over $695,000. In other words, this value represents how much households are willing to pay to participate in recreational activities at the Norristown Farm Park. The average household saves about $150 every year by being able to recreate at the Norristown Farm Park. The proximity of Norristown Farm Park to a large population also generates healthcare and workplace cost savings on an annual basis. In total, the physical activity undertaken by visitors results in avoided costs totaling $6 million per year. These impacts, in turn, translate to lower insurance costs and improved productivity. In addition to the 4 case studies with detailed economic impact estimates, the Return on Environment report tells the success stories of 2 other parks, the Spring Mountain Conservation Area and Lower Frederick Township. The Spring Mountain story is about private entrepreneurs and local government working together to preserve one of Montgomery County's highest valued environmental assets for its residents and future generations. This public-private partnership is returning revenues that will be used to support more open space purchases, supporting additional recreational opportunities, and attracting visitors to the county. Frederick Township is a case study in making the case to protect open space. Facing the loss of large tracts of land to development, the township passed an open space fund in a 2020 referendum and appointed a committee to make open space decisions. The case is a story of communications and education, both with local government officials and residents, ultimately resulting in getting the fund on the ballot and passed in the referendum. Now the hard work is beginning to ensure that the new funds are spent well and provide the promised benefits. I think we all know that the true value of a park or a protected open space is not just an economic value. But we also know that in a time of limited funds, it's important to be able to make the case that open space is a long-term investment for the community, not just an expense, and that there is an economic return to that investment. The benefits presented in this report provide information for elected officials, policymakers, and the general public on the value of protected open space. Hopefully, this information will contribute to informed decision-making concerning both preservation and development in the county. So as you use this report, remember that different people will grab onto different areas of value provided by parks and protected open space in Montgomery County. Some will be excited by how proximity to open space can support property values. Some will be excited by the economic activity that happens on or because of parks and other open spaces. Some will be excited by the environmental benefits that parks confer on the community and the protection of streams and waterways that natural infrastructure provides. And some will be excited by the recreation and health benefits that residents can gain by exercising in local parks or on local trails. The bottom line is that there is a return on environment in Montgomery County. Those who came before have been investing and protecting open space for over 100 years, and you are seeing and reaping those benefits every day. How you build and expand on those investments will be your legacy for the future. Thank you very much.